Hey guys, Michael the DC Multiverse Collector here, really excited to be bringing you this review of the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse The Joker and Punchline 2-pack. Now as I understand it, this is something of an exclusive in the United States. I believe Target has at least an exclusive version of this with an autograph card. Correct me if I'm wrong, but in other parts of the world it's widely available, and I imported this from Hong Kong, hence it's a couple of days early, and certainly about a month earlier than this will drop in Australia. So if you're watching from down under, this should be dropping sometime in July. Now, this 2-pack I was actually pretty excited for. Punchline is a relatively new comic character. I'm always excited to get characters from more recent runs. That's always fun for me. Batman villains, even better. And the Joker, we've had so many Joker figures, but this one took my attention because I kind of like the costuming. I like the head sculpt, at least in the promo pics, and I'm really curious to see what he's like out of the box. Coming round to the side of the box, you can see that this is just called The Joker and Punchline, doesn't specify a particular run of comics, and on the back you get some very, very nice artwork of the Joker and Punchline. Joker looking broadly like he does in the figure in the box, and Punchline looking pretty accurate to what we get in the box, but we'll assess that once we get them out of the packaging. But anyway, without any further ado, I say we open this up and see what we get. Okay, so here is the Joker and Punchline 2-pack opened up with everything you get in the box laid out on the table. As you can see, it's a fairly modest offering. Now most 2-packs in modern era McFarlane DC Multiverse come with some sort of display base, usually a bit of terrain, some rocks, some cliffs, a bit of rubble. I always find that a little bit useless, and I certainly don't have room for any of that in my display, so it's not a big loss for me to not have that in this 2-pack. I don't care, but in terms of actual accessories, I feel like we could have got a little bit more. So let's start out with the boring stuff. You get two McFarlane DC Multiverse display bases. They are thin, basic, boring, let's not talk about them. Good to have, but not exciting. We also get the collector's cards. Now you will see here the artwork reflects that on the back of the box, and I will flip these both over. So if you want to read about the Joker or Punchline, Punchline's probably going to be of a bit more interest to you. You can pause here. Now, Punchline, as I understand it, is effectively a modernised Harley Quinn stand-in. My understanding of Punchline is that she's effectively a Joker groupie who is obsessed with the Joker, commits a whole series of crimes to earn his attention and validation, and kind of aims to become his replacement Harley Quinn after Harley Quinn leaves him. So a pretty cool newer character, not one that I'm super familiar with outside her basic design, and you know, beyond that, I don't know too much, but I'm really excited to have her in figure form. Now let's have a look at the other accessories we do get, which are a pair of knives. A large one for Joker, who I believe came with this is the same knife that came with Infinite Frontier Joker. I don't have that figure. I'm pretty sure it came with Infinite Frontier Joker. It's just a very big, exaggerated looking knife with a very thick handle, and Punchline gets this nasty little dagger. Looks quite nice and is quite a cool accessory for her. Now, that is it in terms of basic accessories. There are no alternate heads and, more critically, no alternate hands, which I would have thought for characters that are expressive like these guys, you would have thought we would get some gesture hands as well, maybe some punching hands, but, you know, a bit of a missed opportunity. What I will say about Punchline is that she does come with a hand that includes what I believe to be some sort of bomb. Now, anyone who's read the comics featuring this character might be able to tell me if this is a bomb or not. Let me know in the comments. But whatever the case, I do love that this is attached to the hand. Of course, that does limit your posability, and it would have been nice if you could replace that hand with something a little bit more basic or generic if you wanted to. But that's a minor nitpick. Now, in terms of these figures, let's look at them one at a time. I think let's get the Joker out of the way first, because he's probably the less interesting figure of the two. So the Joker in this 2-pack is really, really interesting in a number of ways, despite being maybe the less attractive or exciting of the two characters. I think at a first blush, this is just a really nice looking, fairly classic, rudimentary, bread and butter Joker. He sort of resembles Jokers that we've had through the 70s, 80s, 90s, and the modern era. There's sort of a little bit of design sensibility from each era here, like the orange shirt underneath is very classic, very retro to me. The flower is there, the green vest and the purple suit, but I like the flipped up collar, and I like that sort of wild hair that's kind of not overdone. It's not too slick, but it's not too spiky and exaggerated. I think it's just a really cool looking modern Joker that will fit with more classic looking DC villains. Like, you know, we've got the Riddler, we've got the Penguin in their classic form. This guy is not so modern like the Infinite Frontier Joker, for example, or the Death of the Family Joker, that he'll look awkward alongside those other figures. So I really do like the overall design sensibility of this Joker. I like the overall proportions, and when we get in for a closer look, we can look at the head sculpt, which I'm actually quite a fan of myself. Now, the other really interesting thing about this Joker is that at first I thought he was reuse of the, let's call it the Three Jokers Joker body. It's also the Death of the Family Joker body. So I thought these guys all shared the same pieces, but guess what? They kind of do and they kind of don't. So it's really interesting. They have the same basic legs. So let's bring this in closer. You will see that it's largely the same, but not identical. It feels like this new Joker has a more sort of detailed version of this Joker's sculpt. It's like they took the original sculpt and added additional sculpted detail. Do you see what I mean? It's the same basic thing, but with extra texture, which I quite like. Look at the upper legs. Even the diaper piece is slightly different, more texture, smaller, better looking. If it comes around to the arm pieces, you will see that they're very similar, but not identical. This has many more folds, and certainly it's sort of, you can't say it's the same. You can't say it's a reuse. It's got more texture to it, more wrinkles in the fabric. You know, I just think it gives it more realism, and it's just a better looking figure to me. And proportionately, I think it works a whole lot better. You'll see this diaper piece just fits in so much nicer than this sort of big granny panties diaper that they had going on with these figures. So yeah, like, you know, I think this is a really, really solid Joker. There are so many Jokers that you could choose from for your collection, but I would say if you wanted kind of like a default, basic, fits all eras Joker, like this to me kind of might be the one. Like he's just really solid and really well done, and I like him a lot. I think that's my general feeling about this figure. Let's come in for a closer look at the head. Like, I think that just looks great. It's a little bit ugly, but not like terrifyingly hideous. The hair is sculpted really, really nicely. It's got a nice bit of paint in there as well, just a wash to bring out the sculpt. The face, you will see, is pale white, but not completely chalky. It's got a little bit of grit to it. The teeth are immaculate. The eyebrows, the eyes, there's just a nice amount of shading. I think it's just a really top quality head sculpt. I don't see how you could really pick on that too much. I really love this flared up collar here. Really, really nice. The flower is nicely detailed. The creases in the vest. Not much paint going on here. This is all fairly flat looking, but it looks good enough. I like on the sleeves here how you can see the orange shirt poking out. Yeah, I do really like this figure. You'll see that he has the lapels at the back, and all that sculpted detail just continues into the back of his coat. So yeah, a really, really nice looking Joker in my opinion. I know some will have their definite favorites. I know some will say that the Rebirth Joker is better than this, but people like that are completely insane. That figure just looks atrocious to me. I've never liked it. So yeah, for your basic comic book Joker, this has got to be up there with one of the best in the line, in my opinion. Let me know in the comments, which is your favorite Joker? I will say, look at this. One thing I will say is the shape of the head and the way that the neck goes into it and pegs in is really unfortunate. That is a shame. I wonder if it's just sitting a little bit too high. It might just be sitting a bit too high, or they might have just needed to fill in the sculpt a little bit more down there. So that's unfortunate. But I think for most people, if you have the figure posed like this, in a fairly neutral sort of head tilt, he'll look good. You just don't want him looking up, because that is unfortunate. In terms of the rest of the articulation, it's the most basic McFarlane stuff ever. He can do the splits. He can kick out. All of this is soft enough to accommodate that movement. No problem there. Double jointed, hinge and rotation at the wrist. Head can spin, and he can spin around at the waist as well, 360 degrees. and it's the standard foot articulation. However, the way the pants are sculpted around the ankle means you don't get much on the ankle rocker, unfortunately, but up and down is fine. You get toe articulation. It's really basic stuff we've seen a million times before, but he will fit for whatever you want him to do. He'll do most of it, I think. So yeah, let's have a look at the ab crunch. Not much. Yeah, so probably the biggest flaw with this figure is that you're just not going to get much in the torso because of the way this is just a solid piece. So that is a shame. It won't even hold a position because it just wants to bend back. So anyway, Joker, rock solid. Yeah, big fan of this figure in general. Let's have a look at Punchline. So coming in to take a closer look at Punchline, and I think it's pretty clear that she's the star of this 2-pack. My immediate thought when looking at this figure was that she would just be a reuse of Nightfall Catwoman, but that's not so. That is not so, friends. I believe that the lower legs are based on that Nightfall Catwoman sculpt, but all of these straps and laces in her boots have been sculpted in and painted beautifully, so they are heavily, heavily modified. And of course, the upper part of her leg is new as well. Those boots are unique. The body itself, if it is based on that original Catwoman sculpt, it has been modified intensely. So this is, for all intents and purposes, a new figure. Look at all that beautiful sculpted detail in the boots, painted really, really nicely. Topography, these symbols, the torn part. Now that's just meant to resemble her skin, but you'll see that the tone matches quite well with her face and her wrist, so it looks pretty good even though it's just painted and not sculpted. Yeah, a beautiful figure, guys. I really like the shiny plastic on the boots, the matte plastic on her upper legs. She has this skirt piece which is soft enough that you can still sort of pose her around, so that's really nice. These little zips here are actually sculpted on, not painted. The belt, beautifully, beautifully painted all the way around. You will see also that this she's got more topography up there on her chest, around there, on her shoulder. So yeah, she's just head to toe covered in nice little paint apps all around her body that just really give her some like sparkle, I guess. Like she just looks really interesting to look at. There's kind of different things you can see every time you look at her, new details. I really like that. You'll see the symbols continue on her hands. That's really nice. The X, the circle. She's kind of like a PlayStation fan, sort of. Anyway, but yeah, really, really nice figure. I will note that the plastic on her joints doesn't quite match the rest of the plastic, but that's a nitpick, and I don't really care about that sort of stuff because chances are you'll have her posed in a way that you won't even notice. You'll see that her knife fits really nicely in her hand, and like I commented earlier, I really love this sort of bomb accessory. I think it's really nice how it just sits in there, so you can pose this arm any way you like, and that's not going to fall out. So big fan of that. I wish they'd do that more often for these little bombs and stuff. Just sculpt them into a hand and give us more alternate hands. Now, I do wish that she came with some gesture hands to give her a bit of extra personality, but that's just a nitpick. Overall, this is a pretty gnarly figure that I'm immediately impressed with. She feels great in the hand. The joints move, but they feel like firm and high quality. This skirt piece here is just soft, but it still looks good. Yeah, she's just really, really cool. Let's come in and have a look at her head, because really, my biggest complaint with this figure is maybe her head sculpt is just a little bit stoic. Like, I just wish maybe we got another head with just a little bit more personality than this. But if we're only going to get one head, I think this is a pretty good one. So despite the fact she looks pretty bored, the quality of the paint and the sculpt here is just undeniable. Her sort of, blue lips, the eyeshadow, the eye makeup, the blush on her cheeks, the red dot on her nose, the freckles, it's all absolutely immaculate. And maybe it's not coming out here. Let me adjust the lighting so you can see. Yeah, it's tough to capture on film, but rest assured that even the finest freckles come out really, really nicely. Her hair is beautifully, beautifully sculpted, and it's got paint in all the right places, beautiful detail here, streaks of pink in the ponytail. It's just really cool, like, just a really, really nice looking figure. Overall, well painted, well sculpted. It's a fairly cool modern design. I like that. One thing I will note is this ponytail here is just attached here with the thinnest amount of plastic. It feels like you could just tear this ponytail off without much force. Do you see how flimsy that looks right there? So I'd just be a little bit careful with her if you get her. Make sure that you don't pull off her ponytail. But yeah, otherwise, Really, really cool figure. Very flexible. Does everything you want it to do. Any sort of gnarly pose you could want, she'll do it, and her clothing will not get in the way. She has a decent amount of forward crunch, not mind-blowing, but better than Joker. Back crunch, yeah. Really, really nice for Punchline, guys. I would say that if you are interested in this Punchline figure, she's almost worth getting the 2-pack for alone. You will end up with a really cool Joker as well, so that's nothing to scoff at. You know, I'm sure that Joker figure will be pretty desirable. You can resell it if you want. I'll be keeping mine. I think he's really good, and I think she's really good. Yeah, just really good stuff. I will say you can't tilt her head backwards because of the way the hair is sculpted there. See, it just hits the neck, but she can look down a bit, and of course, you do have nice head rock as well. So, yeah, she moves reasonably well. She looks great. Yeah, nothing more to say about her other than she's a home run, and I wouldn't be shocked if she appears near the top of my list this year. Easily top 20 so far. Just a cool character executed to perfection. So yeah, Punchline. So just by way of comparison, here is the new Joker and Punchline alongside some other Joker figures and Punchline equivalents. Harley Quinn, let's just say it. So from left to right, we have the Three Jokers comedian Joker, still probably one of the best Jokers in the line, next to the Arkham Asylum Joker. Arguably, again, one of the best Jokers in the line. Now, until now, those were probably my two favourite. They probably still are, but this new one really has a more classic comic book flair. I mean, the Killing Joke Joker is great, but that's a very, very specific look for the Joker. Very gritty, you know, very, very serious. Arkham Asylum Joker is obviously a game version, but I really do love the sculpt and the paintwork and the accessories on that figure. It's a really good example of how the early McFarlane DC Multiverse figures just went all out in terms of the details and the quality, and yeah, just a really top-notch figure. But the new one is no slouch, and the new one just has sort of brighter colours, a more comic booky appeal. So I think if you're looking for a really poppy, vibrant comic book Joker, this new one is the way to go, but you've certainly got some awesome options. Now, Punchline there, you can see her alongside the Birds of Prey Harley Quinn. Of course, you've got another couple of Harley Quinns to choose from. You could go Suicide Squad, movie Harley Quinn, or you could go that classic Harley Quinn from the first year of McFarlane DC Multiverse, which of course looks more like an animated figure and is wildly out of scale, and I don't have it, and I don't like it. And it just really goes to show that we are in desperate, desperate need of a classic comic book Harley Quinn. Todd, you've given us Punchline. Where's Harley? Where's Harley? I'll keep asking it till we get her, but I hold out hope we'll get a classic Harley soon. But for now, Punchline and this new Joker are a great addition, and I think that just look really, really good. So yeah. In case you couldn't tell, I really, really like this Joker and Punchline 2-pack. It's fairly meat and potatoes in that you don't get really much in the way of bells, whistles, accessories. It's quite basic. You get the two figures, two display stands, and a weapon each. But what this pack really delivers on is the execution on a design. Both Joker and Punchline are beautifully, beautifully designed and executed in 3 dimensions in figure form, especially Punchline, who is the highlight of this 2-pack and just about worth buying the 2-pack all on her own. So I hope this review's been helpful, informative, and entertaining. If it has, why not give it a like? And even better, if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. It really helps out my channel. In the meantime, friends, keep an eye out for some future reviews I've got coming down the line, including Reverse Flash, Max Mercury, Ambush Bug, Mr. Freeze. It'll be a lot of fun. In the meantime, friends, thank you for watching, and happy collecting.